Lords of the Fallen is a reboot of the 2014 game of the same name. After a rather hectic development cycle which saw two other developers take a crack at the grim dark soulslike before being replaced by Hexworks, it's finally here. Unfortunately, while the use of Unreal Engine 5 and the help of some very creative environment artists make it one of the most gorgeous soulslikes on the market, its hollow gameplay and plethora of bugs let it down. Lords of the Fallen takes place 1,000 years after the events of the first game and follows the adventures of the Dark Crusader, a protagonist on a mission to light the 5 beacons across Axiom to prevent the emergence of the Dark God Adir, who naturally will cause total annihilation. It's a strong setup, one that is expanded upon in the most Souls-like fashion through cryptic lore entries that keep you coming back for more. Fortunately, the visual splendor of Lords of the Fallen does much of the heavy lifting and immerses you into this world on the brink of collapse. The use of Unreal Engine 5, Lords of the Fallen is one of the few games this year to utilize the engine, is staggering and absolutely the game's strongest suit. From the crimson fields and crumbling kingdoms, to the hauntingly nightmarish Geiger-esque bone structures of the Umbral world, Lords of the Fallen's art direction and environmental design are flawless. Unfortunately, while the game looks great standing still, the performance issues are so bad that I had a hard time enjoying the vistas. Lords of the Fallen's frame rate is as stable as my chances of beating Melania in Elden Ring. Sure, it worked every so often, but it dipped far too frequently, especially when I encountered multiple enemies at once. To make matters worse, I also encountered a plethora of bugs while stuttering around Axiom. From floating enemies to bosses getting stuck in terrain, these visual inconsistencies make it difficult to properly enjoy the game's gorgeous world. Of course, in terms of gameplay, Lords of the Fallen will feel familiar to anyone who's picked up a Souls-like before. There's plenty of build potential here, which makes combat feel a little bit more enjoyable than your typical Souls-like, but never extend itself beyond what is expected of it. Fortunately, the game's dual world mechanic, its key selling point and biggest point of differentiation, is truly where it shines. In Lords of the Fallen there are 2 worlds, the regular world and the Umbral world. You can enter the Umbral world at any time using your Umbral lamp, which you'll do to mainly solve puzzles or to open up new areas that were previously inaccessible. For example, you might see a body of water in a regular world preventing you from progressing, but in the Umbral world it's gone and replaced by a path. It's a neat mechanic and one that is well utilised throughout. Unfortunately, there are some caveats. For one, once you enter the Umbral realm, you can't leave until you find a specific podium. This is frustrating as the Umbral realm acts as your second life, and once you die in it, you die forever. Considering that you'll only ever need to enter the Umbral realm to solve a simple puzzle, it makes being forced to stay there afterward all the more frustrating. Additionally, if you stay in the Umbral world too long, you'll quickly get overwhelmed by basic enemies, which, while easy to deal with on their own, can become a pain in huge groups. Ultimately, while Lords of the Fallen is a great looking game and one with a neat dual worlds mechanic, it does little to really differentiate itself. Its combat and boss battles are inconsistent at best, and its poor frame rate and bugs make the experience completely unenjoyable at times. There is a lot to love about Lords of the Fallen, and if you're desperate for your next Souls-like fix, then you'll probably have a good time. However, for those purists out there, and those wondering whether to pick this up or one of the other many AAA titles releasing this month, you're better off saving your money. The game creator is giving Lords of the Fallen a 7 out of 10. Make sure to like and subscribe for more reviews just like this one.